two, one. Hello. Welcome to another episode of JT and Liz. We are two friends who met abroad teaching English, and now we're both back in the United States of America, unfortunately. But we talk about our lives abroad all the time and thought it would be kind of cool to talk about it with you. So here we are with another topic. Today's topic: bougie versus budget. Which type of traveler are you? So, I already know what kind Elizabeth is.
Yes.
So, Elizabeth, what type of traveler are you?
I am a budget traveler.
Yes.
100% all the way.
Mm,
And it
okay.
even like affects like whether or not I want to travel with someone. Cuz when you travel with somebody, you'll vet them to see if like you guys are compatible.
Hmm.
That is definitely a deal breaker for me. I'm like, no, it's not
Interesting.
going to work.
So, how many people have you denied travel with because you felt like they weren't compatible?
Well, I think it's a well, I had one bad experience not associated with but like being a budget traveler,
Hmm.
but it taught me that I need to start asking questions.
Hmm.
And then after that, I don't even like ask or like I'm not in that position to be like, yeah, let's all go on a trip. Like I'm just not like I book first and then I'll tell people afterwards what I'm doing. Like I don't even, what I'm saying? Like that's not even something I even mess with anymore.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, I feel that. I'm also thinking of a situation where it was a horrible travel experience, but it wasn't based on budget. It was personality clashes, which we could
Mm,
probably do a whole nother segment on that.
yeah.
But we'll stick to the topic today and we'll talk about budgeting. So I'm actually going to go through a list of questions. But before I do that, I do want to say that when Elizabeth and I met, I was definitely a bougie traveler, but I have seen the budget light, forced to see it. And I'm now a budget traveler. So I'll talk about things I used to do and stuff like that. But I remember when we were in South Korea and I met Morris, which is now her husband. Um, and, just talking or whatnot, even taking the KTX, into that's the fast train into Seoul, I would say that I'd take the first class and he would be like, why? I was telling him about spend money on the first, and he was just like, he didn't understand. And for me, I was just like, if I can afford to do it, I'll do it. And then I thought
Mm,
about it and I was just like, actually the basic class, whatever it was called, was
yeah.
decent. Like it had
Right.
plenty of legroom. It wasn't packed. I was truly just wasting money for a big old seat and extra legroom when I'm like 5'2".
I've never even been first class in a KTX. Like, it just never occurred to me because it's so class and regular. Like, I don't know what you call that economy.
I get, but you also took something. What was that slow train? That slow train called it started with an M. That
I don't
MU.
remember.
I don't remember either, but I remember you were taking a train that I never even considered. So that's how budget you were. But yeah, let's get into these questions for time's sake, okay? So, question number one, and by the way, please, if you guys weigh in as well in the comments. Question number one: hostel, hotel, or Airbnb?
Hostel.
You said that so
Hostel.
quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been in some really, really nice hostels. Honestly, I think the stigma over the years, it just
Hmm.
gets a bad rap. But hostels are, I feel like, fine. Sometimes better than hotels, really.
Hmm. No,
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that.
But what are you
Um,
choosing?
so I will say that I've also had very good hostel experiences,
Uh-huh.
but for me, it's what do I want my setup to be in the hostel? Like,
Okay.
am I gonna go for private room? Am I
Hmm.
gonna go for shared room?
Yeah.
Or what I'm not doing is mixed dorm or the mixed. I'm always
Yeah.
doing all female.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because sometimes it's like 6 beds or
Yeah.
whatnot,
Yeah.
and it also depends on how long I'm staying.
Yeah.
So, like that time in Taipei, which was one of the best hostel experiences because the guests of that hostel actually went out and did stuff together, which
Yeah.
I don't think I've experienced that again, like
Huh.
to that level.
Yeah.
Um, I had a private room in that one,
You
but
did have a private room, didn't you? That's the trip we
yeah,
went on together, right?
yeah. I don't know
You
where you
did
were
have a.
at, but I
I
had a.
was in the hostel. Like I was in a room with like bunk beds and everything.
Yeah, you was tripping.
I had a
I was
hostel
still bougie,
experience.
but we were also there for like a week.
We were.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that for a week. The last time I did bunk beds
Uh huh.
was in Amsterdam. And that
Okay.
was only because I knew I would be there for a few days. And I
Mhm.
also knew I wasn't going to be in the room like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. So that's how I'll choose. So, yeah, basically I'm doing hostel. If it's a very long-term stay,
Okay.
like 2 weeks or longer.
Uh huh.
No, actually, oh, if it's over a week, I'm doing Airbnb.
Okay.
Cause then
All
it's
right.
like, then it's almost like I'm living there. And I don't want to live out of a hostel. So, yeah, generally, if it's like, cause I've done some stays where it's 3 weeks or more, and it's
Okay.
been, yeah, I've done like a month stay in an Airbnb before. So,
Okay. All right.
all right. So, question number 2, carry on only or check baggage?
Carry on only. It's just easier. From a financial standpoint, like why spend the money? Like
Mm-hmm.
it just makes sense. Especially like most things can fit anyway in your backpack. Like it's not
Are
necessary.
we talking about backpack plus carry on, right? Like the
Okay, yeah,
personal.
that can be. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
notice now with the kids, that's how we do like
Gotcha.
backpack plus carry on. But back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, it was just a backpack.
All right, that's crazy. That's crazy. No,
And not
so
even like a for real backpack. It was a Toomey. Like, Toomeys, they don't got that like much space for real.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, make it work.
Okay. I don't know the Toomey setup.
Okay.
I've never even been inside the Toomey store. So I don't I don't know. I thought
You
Toomey was
know what?
bougie.
That's probably not a good reference to make
Okay.
because Toomeys are expensive,
Yeah.
but it was a gift.
Oh, okay. Because I was just like, she said Toomey, and I know she ain't buy no Toomey. So
It was a gift.
gotcha. Okay. Who got you that?
My uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a nice uncle. All right. So same. Well, I had to see the budget light. But when I first left the country, when I moved to South Korea, I had a suitcase.
You overpacked?
I so overpacked. I had so many shoes. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I didn't wear them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely overpacked. And so now I don't even like to check luggage at all.
Yeah.
My dog just came in. So, anywho, sorry.
I received some really good advice before leaving
Mm-hmm.
for Korea. And a friend of mine, she was like, you need to carry you need to bring only what you can carry. So if you
Mm-hmm.
cannot carry 2 suitcases and a backpack and carry on and a this and a that, you don't need it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you're right. So I
Gotcha.
had my big suitcase, my backpack, and a carry on. That's it. And I
Mm-hmm.
carried everything.
Now I do agree with that. I'm not about to
Yeah.
be out here pushing, trying to figure out how am I gonna get all my stuff with me, But I
Yeah.
got very handy with the two, because I had like two check bags at some point, plus
Mm.
the carry on, and I was just loaded up, making it work. But I will say now, before I got interrupted, now it's very much carry on plus backpack
Yeah.
or personal, whatever whatever I think I can get away with, where
Pretty
somebody's not
much.
saying, "Hey, we got to take it." That's for
Right.
me. I just want to keep my stuff with me at all times.
Right.
I will say it does depend on how long I'm gonna go somewhere, because
Okay.
I even remember, and this was, I mean, it was a domestic flight. I was going to Vegas, right?
Okay.
And I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money. I
Hmm.
flew Spirit for the first and last time, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I took just a book bag.
Uh-huh.
It was basically like a book bag with me, and I
Okay.
stuffed all my clothes, everything for those couple of days. And I met friends out there,
Uh-huh.
and they saw how light I packed,
Uh-huh.
and they were just like, "Are you okay? Like, do you have enough?" I was just like, "Yeah." But that was actually my first experience of packing light, and I remember that because I can't believe I actually
Yeah. And how'd you
did it.
feel? Like you were like, oh, this is doable. Or were you
It
like, never again?
I think at that moment I was just so
Mm-hmm.
very much like I was trying something different. I
Yeah.
also stayed. That was my first time staying in a private room in an Airbnb as well. Because I
Okay.
was like, I'm not about to go out here in Vegas and spend all my money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I kind of did at the blackjack table, but like I'm not about to go out here and spend it all on the transportation and the
Yeah.
accommodation. So
Yeah.
that I will say that is what changed for me, my perspective or whatnot. It's just not to spend so much money on that, which
Yeah.
clearly is gonna answer most of my questions now. But um yeah, so like I said, it depends on how long I stay somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And I even went to Mexico one way.
Uh-huh.
I ended up staying for 4 months, but I went with a carry on and a backpack because I
Mm.
didn't know. I also thought to myself, I can buy stuff when I get there,
Uh-huh.
and if I can buy a suitcase, and that's also my alternative as well. Like,
Yeah.
if I accumulate stuff while I'm there, which I did, I
Uh-huh.
can buy a suitcase and I can have a check bag on the way back. I don't need to
Yeah.
go down there with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else you want to add to that?
No, not to that one.
Okay. All right. I just want to make a comment real quick. My
Yeah.
hair's everywhere. But I want to make a comment for any of the A1 day ones that watch this video, or I'm sorry, that watch this channel from like day one. That's Remington. Remy showed up in my first ever YouTube video. He is 15. So I just want to let y'all know he's still kicking, because sometimes I post him on Instagram like back in the day, and people would say, "Oh, it's good to see him." You know what I mean? So he's still here. I just want to let y'all
We
know.
might just have to have a video, just him, every once in a while. Let
Every
people
once in a
know
while, just to let him know he's still moving
he's
around.
doing good.
All right, question 3. I already know your answers on these. Street food or fancy restaurant?
Oh, street food. You already
I,
know.
I already knew that. I already knew that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the food is better, it's cheaper, or you already know
Mhm.
this. And I feel like because it's street food, it's like a buffet out in the street. Like you can visually see everything that's there. As opposed to like you're in a restaurant, you're looking at the menu, like yeah, you
Mhm.
can read the name, but just being out in the street or the market or whatever, you get to see like more options, you get to see more things. It's more of like an experience. And then like you're eating, you're watching them cook it, you're watching people walk by, you're smelling the food, you're smelling the next stall. Like it's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? It's
Gotcha.
more of an experience.
Gotcha. I hear you. And I've definitely had street food. And so I think for me, I'm always just concerned about sanitation.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my biggest thing.
Uh-huh.
And then in Mexico, like I got sick a lot,
Mm.
even at the nice restaurant. So
Uh-huh.
that was different. So I think it's just like try street food and try it, see how you handle it,
Uh-huh.
and then kind of go from there. But for me, I got a finicky stomach, so I just can't be eating
Mm.
everything. But I will say I do recall in Taipei at that street night market or whatever, the
Uh-huh.
night market, I do remember that chicken.
Didn't I? I'm trying to think. Did
You
we
got
run?
beef noodles
Uh-huh.
multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
That's what they were called, beef noodles. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think I saw beef, but like that's what you were eating
Yep.
a lot. Because I was gonna ask you either what's the best cheapest meal you've ever had, or what's the
Uh-huh.
worst expensive meal, and I was like, she's gonna say beef noodles.
Yeah, it would probably be, I don't know. So there was this one time I went to was it where were we? Costa? No, we were in Panama with some family, and we
Mm-hmm.
met up with some friends, and we all went out to eat. It was like maybe 15 of us. We ate for like less than $20. And the food was amazing. And we were off the
Sheesh,
water. Yeah. And that was years ago, and I still remember to this
that's what's
day.
up. Mm.
But then when it does come to like street food and stuff, I would definitely have to say Taiwan is there.
Hmm.
And then also the Philippines has some really good food too.
Mm,
Like I'm a rice person, and so they
you
have
are.
really good like garlic rice that I just like love, and their stewed chicken, adobo is really good.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say between those places.
Gotcha. Now, I will say, even though I'm saying, street food and all this kind of stuff, I don't always go for it.
Uh-huh.
Because I'll generally like have a loose itinerary and I
Uh-huh.
will Google, recommended restaurants beforehand.
Hmm.
But I actually do want to go to Thailand
Yeah.
just to try like their street food. Because, we
Yeah.
restaurants will serve pad Thai over here and
Yeah.
that's street food over there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Do you remember when we went to that restaurant
which
when we
one?
were in Taiwan? And you were like, I was like, I only go to one expensive restaurant.
I remember that. I do recall that because it was like this was. I think I wanted to try things, but I knew I only had one shot to get you somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That wasn't an alley or a corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember that. Okay. Question number 4 is going to be public transportation or Uber slash Lyft or whatever, car ride service.
Public transportation. And I think for me, it's the experience of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember we were in I went to Italy with like my family. Well, it was like me, my brother, my cousin, and my brother's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, just got out the airport. We took the train and we arrived in our city. I think our first city was Florence. And we had just got out the train station and they wanted to take like a taxi to like the Airbnb. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like, let's just find the bus stop and then wait for the bus. Like, I know it's late, but like, it's the experience. Like, we're in Florence. Like, let's people watch. Like, let's get on the
Mm-hmm.
bus. Like, let's pay the fare. Like, all of that. Like, it's a good experience. So, they ended up agreeing and we waited for the bus and we had a good time. My brother was smoking with this guy. They were talking about cigarettes and
Oh, okay.
yeah, like so
I
he
didn't think we
gave.
were talking cigarettes. I was just like, what? Okay.
But I'm saying like he was making connections because the guy was waiting for a bus too.
Mm-hmm.
So he was making connections with people, with local people that he probably would not have made if we were like all together in a taxi because we would be talking amongst ourselves or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, maybe interacting with the driver, asking like, oh, what's something good to do around here. But we had
Mm-hmm.
more interactions waiting on the street. So to me, that
Okay.
that was that was just worth more
I
than.
never really thought about the social connection of public transportation. I
Yeah.
never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me it's all about price. If
Uh-huh.
Uber or whatever
Uh-huh.
service is just ridiculously expensive
Hmm.
and public transportation is a fraction of the price, do
Yeah.
believe that I'm going to learn how to do that public transportation.
Uh-huh.
And more than likely I'm going to download whatever app before I get there or like
Yeah.
research whatever app I need
Hmm.
and just try to figure it out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like day one. But yeah, for me it's definitely about price. I
Hmm.
never forget sitting in a Wendy's in Tokyo
Hmm.
for hours until public transportation started running again because I refused to pay whatever they were asking for the Ubers. I was so tired.
Yeah.
I was just sitting and waiting because I was like, I can't pay it. But I'll also say it could also go wrong because I still owe, and I don't know how to pay it. I still owe a ticket from Berlin. I got a ticket because I didn't buy. I did something wrong.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as I got on the train and the doors closed, these people were going around asking questions. And I guess they were the officers. Long story short, I got a fine. I don't know how to pay. It's been years.
Oh
So
my, you can't go back there.
I just avoid public transportation in Berlin.
Oh my goodness.
Because
How
I've
much
gone back
was it?
since.
You know how
And I
much?
was like, I can't be on the train. Because if they check my documents, they'll see.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, public transportation everywhere else except Berlin.
Yeah.
Ooh, Oh
And
shit.
you want to hear something funny? The one time, well, I kind of had no choice. I was in Japan, and you had to use a taxi, and taxis are expensive. And the
Mm-hmm.
one time, I was fully prepared to pay because I already knew the deal up front. They're expensive, whatever, no issue. He turned the meter off.
Why?
He wanted me to enjoy his country. At the time, there was a lot of stuff going on here in the States, racially,
Mm-hmm.
when all of that stuff was happening. And he was trying to communicate to me that he felt bad, but his English was poor. But so he turned it off. He's like, no, enjoy, like, relax, like, enjoy.
Elizabeth, that's a beautiful story.
It
Also
is.
concerning. If I'm in a taxi and they turn the meter off, I'm like, bruh, what?
No,
So they don't know.
no, he wanted I knew he was trying to say like save your money. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
I
saying?
get
Like,
it.
yeah.
That's nice. I've
It
never
was
heard
really
that
nice.
story. You don't share the good stuff.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's what's up. Okay. Okay. All right. Last question. To layover or not to layover?
Um so this one, now with the kids, although I still consider myself a budget traveler, if I can help it, I don't want to do any
Mm-hmm.
layovers. It's just a hassle, like it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um Prior to the children, I still didn't like hangovers, but
First off, Elizabeth, the Freudian slip that just came out.
what?
You didn't like what?
Hey, oh, layovers. I mean,
Okay.
nobody likes hangovers, right?
Yeah, no. Generally, no. And I don't even think you drink like that. That's all right. Again.
So prior to the children, when I did book trips, I would book it so that I didn't have, even if it was cheaper, I would try to book it where I didn't have a layover. But if I couldn't help it, then I mean that's just what I was doing.
So you're saying even before the kids, you would still try to avoid a layover?
I would try to avoid it. I would try to
Interesting.
avoid it. Yeah, I would.
Huh.
Yeah.
I actually thought you were going to say opposite. Like if you could save a few dollars, because it brings me back to
Uh
when you
huh.
would take that slow train for hours to just save some money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
You know what? So I think the difference is with some things, especially like when you're traveling, right?
mm-hmm,
It's long. Like I remember when I went from Korea to Boracay, that
mm-hmm,
was literally all day. I can't imagine having a layover, throwing a layover in there just to make it cheaper. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? It took me over 10 hours, and that was just like the route.
Gotcha.
So with some things, especially like when you're going to a country, for me, it's just easier just to get there because then
Mm-hmm,
I'll just be too mentally exhausted, and then I'm thinking I'm losing days. So
mm-hmm,
that's the other thing. So it's like, all right, pay a little bit more money and do without the layovers because then I'll save money really, and I'm not wasting days because I did pay for this hotel. I
mm-hmm.
did pay for my time here, and I want to enjoy it all.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I have definitely like a finite amount of time of where I'm going.
Uh huh.
I'll look at the layover. Number one, what time am I getting there? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If I know I
Mhm.
only have a week somewhere, then yeah, I get that. A
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
trips I've done, one way tickets,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'll just figure it out sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it really depends on my destination.
Yeah.
Am I in a rush? Because if I'm
Mhm.
not,
That's a
you
good point.
know, I can do the long layover. I've slept in many of airports.
Uh huh.
And sometimes I think like I'll put my backpack like, to the front and just
Mhm.
knock out. And
Yeah.
then I wake up and like, is everything still here?
Yes. Am I sore anywhere? Okay.
Oh God. Did anyone touch
That
me?
was
Oh
a little dark.
gosh. I've never thought to myself, did anyone touch me?
You
I just want
really?
to,
Oh, I
yeah.
have. Yeah.
Where you fall? I fall asleep in a busy. Well, ooh, that's crazy. I try to fall asleep in like a you scope out where you're gonna fall asleep. I have fell asleep somewhere very empty. Dang, that's crazy. Where was I? I think I was leaving Amsterdam. And it was a crazy situation. I was
Amsterdam.
thirsty. Nothing was open. The machine took my money. I was just like, well, I guess I'll just lay here. Just okay, yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So I'll do it depends. So to answer your question, it depends. I will say, because I did a very long layover. The longest layover I've ever done was that 23-hour layover in Shanghai. But that was great because they gave you that little travel pass for the day. And I got to, go out and explore. So
Yeah.
I think if I can fit something in like that,
Yeah.
then I'll definitely look at that layover.
Yeah.
But, if it's 6-7 hours, then I don't know. Do I really want to leave the airport?
Right.
Do I really, what if any... It's just not worth it.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's another good point. If you can make it a trip within a trip, then it's worth it. If not, then it's like, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, those are all my questions. Do you have anything you want to
add? No.
Okay.
Although so just another reason why I think being a budget traveler is better. I feel like you're more creative with your resources and forms of entertainment, and just
mean?
like your openness. So if you got money and you going somewhere, you might be like, let's say you got money, you going to New York, you're gonna be like, all right, I want to see a Broadway show. I want to do this. I want to do that. Somebody else may be like, you know what? I'm gonna ride the ferry. It's free.
Are you comparing the Broadway show to riding the ferry? Like,
I'm just
as a
saying,
form of entertainment?
I'm just saying you don't have to see a Broadway show. I've seen a few. I've never been like, I never tell anybody, like, come to New York, you could go see a show on Broadway. I've never said that because, like, I don't know, like, there's just other things you could do.
That might be because you're from there. So you see it like,
Would you want to see a Broadway show?
I know my mom and them went, the last time they went to New York, they went to a Broadway show. And
would you want to see a Broadway show?
I would go to say I did it.
Okay. But would that be on your, I got to do this for, like, it's the one I want to do. I'm in New York. This is the thing to do. It's my form of entertainment.
I do think it is a thing I do think that people consider it as a thing to do.
Really?
Yeah. It is to see a show on Broadway. It's definitely a statement said by many people.
Okay. You're right, maybe because I'm from there.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask again. All right. So that concludes the questions. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be it for us today. Please let us know, are you team budget or team bougie? Oh, I said that wrong. Bougie. I'm not even bougie anymore. I can't even say the word. Shoo, golly. So anywho, yeah, drop those in the comment section below. If there are any topics that you would like for us to cover, again, please drop them in the comment section below. And that's it for us. We'll see you guys on the next one. All right? Bye. Elizabeth got me doing this. Bye.